5, 4, 3, 2.
Good evening and welcome to C.A.N. After 8 years of the Reagan 80s, today's news media is filled with images of an ever-increasing number of public displays of racism, anti-Semitism, and homophobia. C.A.N.'s Patrick Henry reports.
From Klan graffiti on a home in Oakland, California, and
I was frightened, you know? And then when I found out about the gunshots, that was just too much for me.
And the state election victory of a former American Nazi and KKK Grand Wizard in Louisiana.
I wouldn't be opposed to any group that stood up for the white race in this country, and if I was a Nazi, I'd be proud of it. The Jews consider themselves a separate entity in our society. They always have. They're a very elitist group. White people in this nation and the world have got to unite.
To the rise of young, hate-filled skinheads roaming America's streets looking for gays to bash.
When you go out booting on the fags, you prevent the spread of AIDS.
What do you call it, booting?
Yeah, you don't use your fist, you use your boot.
Basically, I love intimidating people, you know. The bigger they are, and if you intimidate them, you know, it's funny, you laugh about it.
Humor about these sensitive issues demonstrates the dangerously casual attitudes many have taken despite these trends. Bigotry that was once only uttered behind closed doors is now spoken openly and is not only tolerated but accepted. In this climate, a new form of broadcasting has hit the airwaves called shock radio, which exploits bigotry for high ratings. From its San Jose headquarters, radio station KSJO reaches the entire San Francisco Bay Area with its #1 rated morning drive time commute program, The Perry Stone Show.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
Who is this? Wait a minute. Identify yourself. Your name, that means. Who you are.
My name is Jim Castile, and I'm from San Leandro.
All righty. Go ahead, man.
All right. This guy walks into a gun shop, and he says, I want to buy a gun for target practice. And the guy says, well, what kind of gun? He says, well, I was looking for a .44 Magnum. And the guy says, well, what kind of targets are you going to shoot with a .44 Magnum? And the guy says, well, I'm going to shoot cans. And the guy says, cans? You're going to shoot cans with a .44 Magnum? The guy says, yeah, Africans, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans.
Although the show's controversial form of entertainment has made it popular with its listeners, it is considered both tasteless and potentially dangerous by members of numerous communities who have protested the broadcast and pressured its sponsors. When GLAAD, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, learned that KSJO Shock-Jock Perry Stone and his broadcast sidekick Trish Bell were scheduled to make an appearance during a TV20 telethon for the homeless, the television station was flooded with protest calls. But it was too late to get the DJ pulled. Stone used the appearance to attack these critics.
Brought to us by 92.3 KSJO and Pacific Bell. I don't normally like organizations. One in particular tried to get my butt from not being here, and it didn't work. Those people are after me, and as a matter of fact, I want a little wager between the...
C.A.N. spoke with Zane Blaney, a member of the Coalition for Integrity in Media, an organization of diverse community groups that have come together to coordinate efforts against the Perry Stone Show.
Stone contends that this is all entertainment, that it has an entertainment value to it, and there are many groups and organizations that have come together over the last 4 months who feel that it is not entertaining at all, and they're certainly not laughing at his humor. A coalition has developed over the last 4 months that is unprecedented, with including the NAACP, various age Asian and Latino organizations, church organizations, gay and lesbian organizations, all coming together in one coalition to oppose this kind of programming.
Stop by Francois' House of Chemotherapy Hair Salon. That's right. We guarantee you'll love your cut because you know exactly what we're going to do. We do one thing, we do it right. The bald chemotherapy look. Did you know that the chemo look is in?
The 101 is finally beginning to thin out northbound through downtown San Jose, but you'll still find it heavy from Tully on up past 80.
We fell in love.
You're making me want to puke. You know that? The two
I
of
love when he's on his bicycle on that first one.
And he swishes, man. He swishes. It's like, just want to take a double-gauge shotgun. What's the first sign of AIDS?
I don't know. What is?
A pounding in the butt.
Perry Stone is basically a San Jose phenomenon. However, he is on a megawatt FM radio station that reaches all the way up to Petaluma and down to Santa Cruz and is broadcast to the entire Bay Area, something that tens of thousands of people tune into every day. He is the #1 rated morning disc jockey in San Jose. Stone basically began his shock-jock career in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, when there was a concerted effort at that time to stir things up on the radio station that he was on. It was Stone's idea that they should go after groups that no one cared about, like homosexuals. He felt that since male heterosexuals hated male homosexuals, that it was a way to attract a young male audience to his program, something that he's used as a gimmick to attract an audience for several years. There was a great boycott effort initiated in Milwaukee against the station when Stone was on the air there because of his homophobic and racist comments, and they were quite successful in getting sponsors to realize that they had a moral obligation not to support this kind of programming. Stone then turned up in San Jose about a year and a half ago, and not really until he was listened to by people who were really offended by what he was saying, Asians and blacks, that Stone made the front pages of the local newspapers, and other groups and concerned citizens began to listen to him and really try to understand what he was doing.
JR from San Jose. Well, how does a Mexican know when it's time to eat?
No.
I don't know. When his poop chute stops burning. Yeah, baby.
Next person in our studio audience?
Yeah, I'm Mike from San Leandro, and what's the difference between a bull and a bull dyke?
I don't know, what?
5 pounds and a flannel shirt.
Chang?
Oh, yeah, this is Chang from Beijing.
Nice to have you along, Chang.
Yeah, the 3 Chinamen sit around table. They compare problems they have with the getting old. And first the Chinamen say, 7 o'clock every morning I have to whiz, but I can't because I got the breather problem. And second Chinaman, he says 7 o'clock every morning I have to crap, but I can't, because I'll back up. And third Chinaman he says 7 o'clock every morning I whiz and I crap. And the other Chinaman say, how can that be done? And then third Chinaman say, well, I don't wake up until 8. Rod, you're right.
It's a bunny from Bob Pimp. And look at all these cute little ass characters in the cereal. They just make me want to smile. There's cute little hookers. And look, here's a pimp and paddy wagons. And don't forget these little cute condoms. You need that in my line of work. So if you're...
Perry and Trish will be right back after these messages.
Fighting words is a very difficult thing to prove. Someone in broadcasting on the air has to say we should go out and kill black people. Someone has to go out and actually kill black people because of what they heard on the radio or on TV. Our feeling is, certainly in the lesbian and gay community, that when we have a disc jockey on the air who is constantly calling us, and I mean daily and hourly, calling us faggots and queers and homos and stick boys and dykes and lesbos, that this constitutes fighting words. When you hear these words on the street, what does it do? It makes your blood boil. If you're in a confrontational situation with a group of people, it can lead to violence. And even the San Francisco Department of Public Health Victim Services Advisory Committee opposes what Perry Stone is doing on this basis. They feel that, in fact, these kinds of broadcasts give permission to people to go out and to bash homosexuals. We all have the right to get on a soapbox on any street corner in America and say whatever we want, but all of us don't have the same and equal right to the airwaves and to the microphones of the country's radio and television stations. KSJO is not offering lesbians and gay men the same opportunity to counter the stereotypical portrayals that he makes of us on an hourly and daily basis. We're not given the same privileges that Perry Stone enjoys in this area. And we feel very concerned that it is a very unequal and damaging effect that he has on our communities, and that it is not an equal treatment. I have to hearken back to what Matilda Krim, Dr. Matilda Krim, said of Morton Downey and his kind, basically, that this kind of programming was the worst thing that she had seen since, as a child, she listened to Goebbels tell Jew jokes. And basically, Perry Stone and Morton Downey and this kind of programming is Jew joke time. They're telling Jew jokes, and we have an obligation to object to this kind of thing. It's not harmless programming.
Why do men like to make it with Jewish women?
Don't know, why?
Because everybody knows Jews are tight.
But we need you to bless the show in Jewish.
To bless the show in Jewish?
Yeah.
Oh.
Do it now! Boy, stick your head in the oven.
No.
We hungry yet? Want some pizza? All right, American pigs. Come on into Little Hitler's Pizza.
Lasst euch nicht los in den Pfoten!
And fresh pizza in just seconds with the Führer's special recipe fresh from the oven.
What we hear and see in the media does affect us, and it affects children especially in many ways. And when they hear people being called nigger, faggot, kike, spick, lesbo, dyke, and that it's okay to commit violence perhaps against us, that it does in fact manifest itself on the streets. We wonder why we have incredible increases in the amount of anti-gay violence in this area, just in the Bay Area. We wonder why there is ongoing and increasing elements of a psychological crisis in San Francisco over AIDS. Part of Perry Stone's stick is AIDS misinformation. He has said and told tens of thousands of people that it's that you can get AIDS from a floral display that is prepared by an HIV positive person. He said that we should go out and stick pitchforks up the butts of AIDS victims. He says that because someone is a swish, to use his words, it just makes you want to take a shotgun and go out and do what? Because someone might be a swish, they deserve to die. I mean, what is the impact of these statements on young, impressionable minds, or even those who would hold these statements?
This fall on the Foxy Television Network, it's the all-new Three's a Turd. Two homosexuals share an apartment when they find they can't make ends meet, so to speak. So they take in the Grim Reaper. Well, you can imagine the laughs.
Well, shoot, whose turn is it to do the wash? I mean, gosh, do I have to do everything in this house? How about you, Grim Reaper? I mean, you haven't done anything. You just sit there on your big rump doing nothing, waiting for somebody to die.
Listen to me, you little homo. You have exactly 2 months to live anyway. If you don't start picking up after your little gay friends, I'm going to stick this pitchfork up your butt, and let's see how excited you get then.
Well, that sounds very promising.
New this fall, laughs all over the place on the Foxy Television Network. Three's a turn.
Well, a former flower cutter has sued a Milpitas florist for allegedly firing him after he told the manager that he was infected with the AIDS virus. Rick Friot began working for Marlowe's florist in September of '87, cutting flowers and building vases. In October, Friot told his employer he had been infected with the AIDS virus. 1 week later, Friot was fired.
Well, I don't blame him, do you? For firing the guy?
Well, they said the coworkers were scared. They did not want to be around him. So he's out of job.
I mean, I buy flowers for my girl. I want to make sure there's no crap around that stuff. I don't want to, sometimes I stick my nostrils in there. How many people, come on, how many people, you get some flowers, you
smell
put it in the vase, and then you stick your nose right in it to smell it, right? Now, what happens if the AIDS virus is on there? You just snorted AIDS.
Oh, God.
It may be
The Perry Stone Show gets into an area of dollars and cents. If it wasn't a money maker for KSJO, they wouldn't be doing it. If it wasn't a money maker for the advertisers, they wouldn't be involved. That's rather frightening that these stations and these advertisers are basically making bucks off our blood. Call and or write to the station. You can call and or write to the sponsors of the program. The thing you don't want to do is to roll over and play dead and to feel as if you do not have an impact on media. As individuals